Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Headspace Podcast, the show where we break down newish hip-hop albums track by track, give you the thoughts and opinions, whatever just stands out as we go through it. And the goal is to kind of look at the entire project, the album, as like its own being, rather than just paying attention to the singles or whatever, and just kind of the overall experience of listening to the project. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, or HSR. Normally joining me is Chris Chrome, but unfortunately he has to work on Saturdays, the day we record. So here I am doing this bonus episode on my own. Today I will be breaking down Twiztid, Generation Nightmare. On this one I've been a little bit excited for, I'm not even gonna lie. So I'm gonna do a bit of the intro stuff, so you can check the description of this video and skip ahead if you want to see when we actually start talking about the album. But I want to preface this all by saying I'm not an expert by any means. This is just something that's kind of like a growing journey for me. I want to create and find a community of people who just care about listening to music and breaking it down like I do. So nobody in my life was that interested in like my real day jobs and all that shit. So I came to the internet and just started doing this, and I met a whole bunch of cool people. So I keep doing it because every album I break down and I listen to just kind of inspires me, and I feel like I learn and I grow more. So that's the whole point of this for me. But that means that you, person coming to this review, you probably know a lot more about Twiztid and the Magic Ninja Entertainment universe than I do. You might even go way back to the Juggalo days and whatnot. All I'm saying is y'all might know a lot more than me. And I encourage you, because of that, to leave any comments adding to the review, or just correcting me, or your own interpretations of things, because on the real, everybody who comes to the review is going to go check the comment section. So if I make any dumb claims or anything, that you feel is kind of weird and you correct it, it's like everyone else who comes to the review benefits from it. Anyway, I'm certain my intro's going a little bit too long here, so I just want to pivot quickly to show how much I care about the comments. We like to do our favorite comment of last week's video, and this is just to show some appreciation because I respond to every single comment. So on last week's video was actually just a complete random twist, and I did Bjork's debut album, and on that project Florian J had this lengthy comment which he said, "I'm still watching the review, but here's a little fun fact about human behavior. The concept of the song was inspired by David Attenborough. He's the dope ass British dude who does all the wonderful voiceovers for the BBC, like Planet Earth and World War II in color, and pretty much any documentary series from the BBC that has been dope he has voiced. Animal documentaries, so she curiously watches humans like Attenborough watches wildlife." So what you said at the end of the analysis is pretty much spot on. Also with Crying, the theme that she's far from home is really what this album is kind of about. Debut is like the little Icelandic girl coming to the big city, London, for the first time. The next album, Post, could be seen as a sequel where she has become a big city woman. The title's debut and Post should be understood as before and after. So I was like, that's a pretty fucking dope comment, right? Like, that's the kind of shit that blows my mind, right? This guy knows way more about Bjork than I do, and he really helped frame, just kind of put into a picture just what's going on in her world and some extra background information, because this stuff's not simple to Google. So I just want to show appreciation for the people who do take the time to like share such dope shit, even if this might not be the most hip-hop review we did. I digress. Before jumping into it, special thanks to the patrons Ismail Gadamsi, Jonathan Barnes, Lindell Williams, DJ Black Hurricane, and Chris Prado. They support what we do. We'll talk a bit about that at the end of the video, but I'd like to plug them at the beginning when you're still watching. And on that note, it's time to talk about Twiztid's new album, Generation Nightmare. Now, on the real, something incredible happened in my life. Flashing up on the screen is Twiztid tweeting at me and showing like love to the fact that I tweeted at them. Now this might not mean a whole lot to anybody out there because maybe y'all tweet more than I do, but anytime somebody that I admire as a famous person tweets me, I feel so fucking cool, and it was like really dope to know that I was going to be reviewing this album and they tweeted me, which just put me in such a great fucking mood for it. So this is the part of the review where I like to contextualize how familiar I am with the act, because based on your history listening to their music, if you're a longtime fan for like 20 years, or if you just jumped on like last year or whatever, your entire experience listening to this project is going to be different if you've been waiting for it for 6 months, or if you've just been kind of if you listen to that Halloween special thing they dropped, if like all these different things can play into your overall experience. So as for myself, I guess I discovered the ICP and Twiztid folk around 2010-11. I kind of got into the more ICP, but I always thought that Twiztid had like dope ass rapping. I just at that time of my life wasn't really that interested in investigating music the way that I am now, and I definitely had a few songs from theirs that I really liked. Like the one that's sorry, like Hydro at Lazy Bone was always a favorite of mine. A few others just kind of popped through, but I always loved the way that they rap. Like I just always found that they had such a fascinating contrast of voices, and it was always hard to pick if I like Jamie Madrox better or if I like Monoxide, because they balance each other out so fucking well. I love the experimentation with the beats and just how all over the place it is. Love Don't Live Here Anymore, It's Been Cold Since You Went Away is a song that like I've listened to so much that I can't help but almost sing along word for word when it comes on. I think when they attach themselves to these more emotional issues, they can express it in such an honest and relatable way that it almost feels like I'm listening to things that I felt myself, which that song definitely did for me. So I can't say I've ever really done a lot of their albums, but we did do the continued evolution of life's questions as one of the first reviews that was actually done on this channel. And I remember loving the more emotional side of their songs, like Black Clouds, or the first one on the album is just ridiculous. Like there's so much that I felt on that project. I think like half of it I just really loved. The more horrorcore side of it, I was like, okay, I understand that it's really well made. It's something I appreciate more than I like. So I really dug the emo side of that album. I don't know if that's an offensive way to put it, but it's fucking dope to me, so it's not an insult. And so I was really excited for this project. I also realized that I missed the Triple Threat album that came out that I really almost want to go back and cover as well, because, well, spoiler alert, I really like this Generation Nightmare album. So this is going to be one of those more like, this is fucking dope reviews. I don't have a lot more to say about them. I do want to comment that as far as their beef with ICP and the whole split from Psychopathic and any of the drama surrounding that, I'm pretty ignorant to. I don't take sides in that stuff. So I just want to preface this because, sorry, the wind is opening the door. 1 quick second. I don't want to take any sides because I don't really feel like I care, is more the point of it. I think that ICP does its thing and Twiztid does its thing, and I would like for them to be friends because they made some great shit together. Like, who the fuck doesn't like homies? But I mean, at the same time, I kind of really dig the different vibes that are coming from each camp. I don't know, I just am an appreciator of stuff, so I stay out of the drama. And I got the feeling a couple of these tracks approach it, so I don't know, and I would love to hear your interpretations, folk who have been following this and are just a lot more informed than I am. I have a good top level understanding of the situation. I don't really have any of the details. Again, I don't care that much to look it up, but I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. Also, Gmoski is dope. Just wanted to throw that in the middle of this because he commented on our review when we covered him, and he's on their label, so they're dope. Both Twiztid and Gmoski. I digress. Generation Nightmare is a fucking fascinating title because you think about, how generations get these little names and descriptions kind of attached to them, like I guess the cyber generation. I don't know if that's what it was called, but it would imply we all grew up with the technologies and stuff. Or millennials, the people who came of age around the new millennium, or all these different things to signal just kind of when you were born and a quick descriptive understanding of that group of people. And with Generation Nightmare, it really got to consider all the people growing up now, like all the little kids and whatnot, or the youth. I'm 31 years old, so I've lived through angst. I went through the Bush version of that shit, but I can only imagine that this Trump era is something different for a lot of people. And I don't have an opinion about Trump. Honestly, I'm Canadian, so I don't want to be poking my nose into shit I don't know enough about. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his personal ethics, but I don't know enough about him as a president, is I guess my point. Still, when I consider the vibe and the times and the polarization and everything else, it really is like this weird and cryptic nightmare that everyone is kind of living through. And all the people growing up now really could be this generation nightmare, or maybe it's the people who grew up in the past that are scarred now or whatever, but still, you get the idea that this is an album to relate to, but while not necessarily going to be approaching the most positive themes. And I really like the title. As far as the cover goes, it's got this little symbol, Twiztid. Just got the title. It's in black with some kind of grayscaling effect to showcase the icon on it. It's fine. The album cover does absolutely nothing for me, but the title of the album's fucking dope. And that's part of the album. That's why we talk about it on every episode, because how you spell, what's the first thing that you're going to see with the project? The title on the cover. Anyway, it's time to go through it track by track. There's 20 of these motherfuckers to talk about. I'm excited to get through this Generation Nightmare experience. So the truth is, as long as everybody keeps talking about Twiztid, they really will live forever. So, like, I'm not really great with the music, but there's, like, this pronounced snare. Meanwhile, there's, like this kind of pronounced, like, snare driving this beat, right? Mixed with these more, like, industrial, electronic-y sounds, mixed with this, like, kind of eeriness. And then if you just look at the effects used on Jamie Madrox's voice on the introduction, everybody's gonna die, and I won't tell you why. It's almost inaudible. It's so low and buried that you're almost not supposed to hear it. It's supposed to be, like, sneaking up on you just a little bit. But it really sets this tone, and then it kicks in. It's like, I'm going to live forever. I'm going to live forever. And you just get this, like, such a powerful start, right? Like, everybody's going to die, but I won't tell you why, and I won't tell you how, and nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to live forever. So it's like, look, the reality of the situation is everybody is going to die, and you don't know when, you don't understand how, but regardless of that situation, nothing's going to stop me from doing what I'm set out to do with my life. And because of that, with the legacy I'm building, I will live forever. At least that's how I interpret it. Obviously, you can all interpret it however you took it, but it's what really spoke to me. And like, as a person who's on this grind, trying to do my own version of what they're trying to do, it's like, I feel like it almost spoke to me in a really personal sense. So just because of how much I related to this project, I feel like I was a little bit biased in how much I fucking liked it. But to me, it was an amazing start, and at a point where I needed something to, like, anthem to, so I was really dope for that. Then even, like, lyrically just after that, your life's an indecision. Somehow you'll never choose. No matter what the game, you'll never win. You always lose. I'ma live forever. And again, this is such a relatable thing for me, just because you look around at a lot of people who are caught in mediocrity and indecision, and they're not able to figure out the specifics of what they would like to do with their life. And their life is just happening all around you, and there are consequences to all of your actions or inactions. And the truth is, certain people, because of how they live their life, are not going to win. Whereas I feel like myself, even if I don't achieve, like, super duper top level fame, there will be some kind of impact to what I do if I play my cards right and I live the way I'm supposed to and I grind it all, where I will live forever because of my legacy. And that's at least what I took off on this shit. And it really was, like, such a powerful start. And this is just the very beginning. Like, the song is short. It's 2.5 minutes, but the music's all over the place with some great fucking effects and shit added, like, kind of like you can tell that they're not afraid to play with how technology can morph the music while also mixing in more, like, traditional sounds, like that drum pattern. So as we're going to discuss multiple times, the shit's all over the place in terms of sound. So this one has, like, this kind of, I don't know, singy rappiness to it. I don't know, that there's not really a lot of hip hop per se going on. You have this one little verse where they go back and forth, where it's like, we are off this planet. Thankfully for you, our voice is audible. Hard to understand it. You say your life is weak and horrible. Take it all for granted. They say that we do leave all this bullshit behind you now. Time to grow fast, because hell's upon you and you're not checking out. You know, and it's like, to me, it's almost like an attack on the attitude of the apathetic, or the people who, again, neglect to do anything with their lives or take advantage of what's over there, but proceed to complain. Like, you really get that. You say your life is weak and horrible, and then you take it all for granted. So there's, like, an attitude here that a lot of people may have, and maybe it is something that's prevalent in this generation, who does like to pass the buck and complain. And a lot of this divisiveness is simply because we're not accountable to ourselves. overall, I really dug this track. I really thought it was super interesting lyrically. It doesn't like bring a lot more than that. It just repeats it again. But because of the way they sing and how they can transition from like this singy sound to this like chanty chorus to this like rapping little verse to everything all in one little track, it's just like you're excited to hear what they're going to do with the rest of the 19. Because let's be real, when you see 20 tracks, you're a little bit like, this is going to be hit or miss. This is either going to be some shit where like by track 12 you're like bleh, or it's going to be like what you're kind of expecting at this point, a versatile, alive experience. So I gave this song a 4.5. And another thing to point out about this album is it's not really meant, in my opinion, to be listened to track by track. Yeah, there might be a couple that kind of work as singles, but right away they're telling you that this album is meant to be kind of an album you just listen to beginning to end, because about 20 seconds before the actual end of Live Forever, the beat changes into something, and it really just kind of serves as an introduction for the next song, meaning that even before the end of the first song officially, you're not really getting that beginning of the second song unless you're going to listen to Live Forever. So you can cut to phlegm in the windpipe, but it's not the real start of the song. Just beating me down with the judgmental side, so what a wicked web. So all of a sudden we go from that more electronic synthetic-y sound of Live Forever to this nu metal alt rock song with the rapping, so it's clearly nu metal. Now, like I said, I'm 31, which means that I was like 12 in 2000, which means I am probably the only group of people alive that really love nu metal. Our age group, we all love nu metal. I know that the people above us in age and the people below us in age don't like nu metal like I do, but when I heard this, my excitement just spiked the fuck up. So there is a bit of nostalgia in here that is exciting me, and those of you who like nu metal, I can't recommend this shit enough because it's fucking dope. On top of that, the song has like a concept to it. So painting circles, I'm a target like who do I relate to, the half-hearted, who do I pretend to like, garbage, who doesn't give a fuck about what you started. Honestly, most of it is the R word. I'm not an entity, whatever's left to me, more of an artist than anything you'll ever be. I don't pretend to be the hardest. I pretend to be normal, an assistant that breaks people down, etc. And like an algorithm embedded so deep it's just like a phlegm in the windpipes, you can't cough it out. What the fuck are you talking about? And the system of rhyme I design is embarrassing to bring the awareness about. So I know I just read out the whole verse, but it's because I think it's a really interesting and important criticism of society that I don't really hear a lot of people calling out so directly here. And it's this compulsive desire that everyone has to like fit in. Like, and if you think about your own workplace or your own life, you're going to see that crap where like everybody watches the same Netflix show. You'll watch peer pressure, make somebody who's like, I don't want to watch that show, go to, wow, I watched it, just so that you can have the conversations while you're outside having a cigarette or whatever. But in general, it's just saying like, look, all these people who aren't fully committed to things, who like a bunch of pop nonsense, who like basically at the end of the day, a lot of people without a solid identity in themselves, and everybody's trying to like be this level of fake because most people can't handle any kind of real anymore. And I was like, damn. And the truth is this has become such an ingrained part of our culture that it's impossible to just remove it. Everyone knows it. Nobody really likes it, you know, kind of like phlegm in a windpipe. It's like this annoying thing. You can work around it. Sometimes can't get rid of it, and it's fucking obnoxious, but it's just always there, and it's constant, you know? Anyway, I like the fact that Mr. Madrox started us off like that, and it's this intense fucking thing, and then they break into a proper, clean singing chorus, and it's fine. It's like, you know, your world is trying to bring me down. So I feel like we transition. It's kind of like this is you, and this is the society you're trying to be in. Me, I'm trying to be real. You know, just that's what the whole fucking chorus is your insanity is fucking up my way of living. And then Monoxide comes in, and he kind of takes the conversation away from them and focuses it more on Twiztid. Since I won't sell my soul, I can see their eyes roll, just beating me down to judgmental size. Oh, what a wicked web I weave, etc. So I like how there is some decent, fast-paced rapping going on here with some actual proper messaging. At the end of the day, Monoxide's verse still flows out like we're legitimate. When it comes down to this music and stuff, we're gonna be just legitimate with it. You can't like, we're not gonna conform to your crap just because y'all do it. And I really appreciate that. It's almost like anthemic music to relate to if you're trying to pave your own way in life. And then I like the bridge where he's like, I don't know why, I put my middle finger up in the sky. They want to die, but I won't let them see their ghosts as they fly. You know, it's just kind of like, I don't know why I'm such a rebel in this situation, you know, why I feel like I have to fight back, but this is what it is. And so all these people who want to kill themselves in their own fucking dumbass ways, and this is again what I'm interpreting, well, they don't even deserve to understand the consequences of their actions. So I'm going to go out there and do my shit, but all these people it's almost like when you watch people make mistakes in terms of how they live, where you know that when they're 50 they're going to be basically dead in their spirit. What's the fucking point? I don't know. I really enjoyed this one a lot. Again, the sound of it has this crazy good fast-paced drumming going on. It feels like new metal, but again more on that rock side of it all. Definitely something I would have paid money to go see back in 2006. Hell, if Twiztid comes to Montreal, I'd pay money to go see them now. I'm very happy with what I've heard so far. I give this a 4.65. I wanted to give it a higher mark, but sometimes with new metal, I feel like I hear it, and then like a week and a half later, I hear it again, and I'm like, okay, maybe I was a little bit too generous with it. But keep in mind, the album came out on April 26th. I heard it all for the first time on April 26th. I'm recording this on April 27th, so if you're watching this in like 2.5 months, just bear with that. You know, keep it in mind is all I'm saying. Anyway, Speak Of is the next track on this project. I don't 100% know what the catalyst of the song is, but I kind of got the feeling that it was a little bit of being compared to Juggalos and being compared to ICP and just being compared to different shit. Or just dealing with the fact that like the reputation or the things that people are speaking of, and just even the fact that you would even want to compare them is kind of fucking obnoxious, and it makes them have a little bit of trouble dealing with shit. Either way, I really enjoyed this one. Like, it kicks off with Jamie Madrox going, my patience, it's got me anxious and it's hard to breathe and it's hard to cope with my anxiety, and I know they're always gonna laugh at me. It's called embarrassment. I carry this like a ton of bricks inside a suitcase, and it kind of flows on like that. And it's got like this tone where you feel his anxiousness. And what I really appreciate about the way that they write, especially when they approach this kind of subject matter, is how honest it sounds, and how you don't question if he feels this way. You can just tell that this is expression because they actually are trying to cope with some shit, as opposed to trying to monopolize on this kind of emotional subject matter for the sake of your views. Because I don't really feel like he's trying to sympathize with me. I feel like it's like he's trying to get my sympathy. I feel like you're just trying to break down their perspective on a bunch of situations, or what's causing them to feel this way. But the feeling every time I get the feeling that I really want to feel, the feeling disappears and never ever seems to last. Need a new drug. Is there a script you can write to prescribe me a little bit of hope? Because I've been in the dumps for too many days, and it's unbearable for me to pretend that I even want to cope. And I practice what I preach and tell everybody to kind of believe in their shit. And he kind of pushes forward, and you just get this sense where, I guess Twiztid isn't necessarily popping where they want to be this far into their career, but they're still pushing at it. And you get this sense that it's not easy to do so in light of all of the negative energy being thrown their way, in light of all of the maybe lack of seriousness they're given. So I really like that. And then this chorus, it really was fun. It's like, don't try to compare me to someone I'll never be, because that don't faze me. I'm unique, love. And I don't know, it's just the way they threw the love in, like you're just talking to some girl or whatever. And it's like, yo, aren't you like blah, 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 blah? And he's like, no, don't even bother with that shit. I am my own thing. I'm not from whatever thing you're comparing me to. I'm got my own thing going on. And I really appreciated that, because I think a lot of people often maybe try to offer it like a compliment, like, oh, you sound like blah blah blah. It's like, I don't want to sound like blah blah blah. I want to sound like me. So like, I want to express my life. Like, you know, why don't you look for the me in this as opposed to other people? Maybe that was just my petty feelings coming in, but that's what I took from what they're doing here. Then you got that second verse from Monoxide, where he's like, inside of my mind is a dark place that I only go to when I need space, and right now I got delayed set and I'm feeling like I might be full of hate. I want to climb down before a dunk tank, another way, decompress, say, fucking sure, life's a mess, you know? And he's flowing on through where it's like this level of self-awareness, where it's like he's aware that there's this dark part of his mind where everything might be going on, but simultaneously it's like he can almost dip into it when he needs to for whatever reason. And then the line that really made me consider that this might be a little bit targeted at being compared to juggalos is, you hate that 3-year-old bark, going against my grain is my arc, juggalo vin is my target, out of my way I get heartless, and I'm calling it out, but I couldn't give a fuck regardless, because to me it's hot fire, this garbage, I could turn them on to carnage with a quick trip back to deep spaces of darkness. So it's like he's sets up the verse explaining that he's got this darkness inside of him, etc., and then it's almost like he can tap into it, and then lays out that, like, look, man, these juggalos are there, and if I wanted to wreck ICP or Violent J, we could do it. We just don't want to indulge it. We don't want to do this shit, you know? So I think it's a fucking waste of time. That's what I kind of took from it. And then letting you know that they're kind of aware of the situation, but they're choosing to just kind of move on with their life and to fuck out of here, stop bringing it up, is again what I took. I might be wrong, and if I am, I super duper encourage you to let me know in the comments what you believe this song is about, or if you actually know, that would be really dope. Either way, we've completely left the realms of nu metal on this one. It kind of has this more modern sounding, I don't know if it's really trap, but kind of like in that vibe where we're flowing in something that sounds like it came out in the last couple of years, right? And definitely more in the realms of being like an actual rap song, which coming after like the weird electronic industrial first track to the nu metal second song to this rap thing, I'm already going, holy shit, eh? This is the third track of the album. And again, they all like flow seamlessly together where you're supposed to just kind of be listening to this experience. So you've got the subject matter that's almost contextualizing how they see the world, how the world sees them, kind of how everybody fits into this generation nightmare. Meanwhile, they're keeping you attentive and paying attention just from a sonic perspective, because they keep flipping shit up and you're like, I have no idea what the fuck's gonna come next. But what I can tell you is that it's gonna be something new. The song's called Something New, and there's this part where it's like, and it just sounds like they lifted some old-timey shit. Like, I'm not even certain what instrument or sound it is, but it just feels like a record player sample from like the 20s or 30s when it was that early quality. Meanwhile, you got these hard-hitting, pump you to fuck up drums and shit going on, and it's just like this bassy sound pumping it up, like this juxtaposition of like the absolute modern with this old shit, and it's just completely creating something fucking new. It's definitely a little bit more of like a flossier song in terms of content matter, and it's definitely got more of like a traditional trap flow, I would say. So it's like it's so fun to listen to how alive the beats are. Now, something that I have a little bit of trouble with, I've gotten better with it, is those groove driven beats where it's like the same core sample for like 4 minutes and you get lost in the groove and you get caught up into it. Now, that's a way to do the song, and I totally respect that. But what I love the best is the alive, dynamic, all over the place fucking experience. Almost like prog rock in beat evolution form, where like you almost don't know what's going to come next. And I feel like this beat's super experimental, but throughout the whole album, just almost both verses will change, everything's alive. Like it just doesn't feel like we're just going to have any real repetition going on in terms of the music. So I wanted to give props to that, because it proves Monoxide and Madrox's versatility, and it proves that, like, so I guess it's something that's really incredible is regardless of the sound of the beat, they're going to sing over it with the right tone of voice, they're going to rap over it with the right kind of flow, and that is hella impressive. All right, hella impressive. As far as the lyrics from this one goes, I'm not as into it. Like, I mean, it's not that it's bad. It's just like I was so into like, I guess, I mean, it is a commentary. You know, we changed the game like fitted hats, so welcome all to our new era. Nah, fam, we ain't giving it back. Come take the shit if you can do better. To be honest, from what I've heard and what I've seen at the concert, there's nothing to be bothered by because all of y'all are getting fathered. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, flossing, we the sickest. You not that sick. We got nothing to worry about. We doing some shit. We dropping the new and then that fucking crazy hook where it's just, you know, bullshit sound better than they do. When I thought you knew, they want something new. Feels like they're all gone forever now, all together now. Whatever. It's a standard chorus that, in my opinion, works with this song, but it's a lot more about the overall sonic experience. Like, lyrically is not what's selling this song, in my opinion. It's just fine. They floss in, they do their shit, they are fucking dope. Jamie Madrox is the second verse, and it's fine. There's really not a lot I'm finding here that I was like stupidly into in terms of what they rapped about, but I'm still really enthralled by the sound of the song because the production, the overall feel of it, the delivery, the rap talent displayed. I mean, just because I don't think it's the most interesting, the fact is maybe you thought the last three were kind of boring, and this is the flossy, braggadocious shit you were looking for. So I recognize that. And when talking about the album experience, it's really fun because it breaks it up, right? Like sometimes after hearing about some, you know, more intense shit, a little bit of a darker theme, it's like, yo, first, I mean, even conceptually it makes sense. The last track is stop comparing us to people, you know, we don't like that shit. And in this song, we fly as fuck. We invent new shit. We are pioneers, and other motherfuckers copy us. Like, it all kind of works together. It's totally dope. As far as my enjoyment goes, I like it less than the other couple, so I gave it a 4.35, but I still think it's so good. And in the context of flowing through the album, it's totally something you're leaving on. It's totally not something I feel like you're going to skip, and it definitely adds value. On that note, I like the next song a lot fucking more, so let's talk about Siamese Amazement. So this shit is punk as fuck to me. It's fast paced. It's like 2 minutes 9 seconds of adrenaline engaged, quick band feeling. Like, I was enthralled. This is my shit. Like, and the fact that they almost go back and forth line by line. Like, it'll be like, if I'm vulnerable, so are they. Sorry, that's the hook. That's not where they really do it. They do it on the verses. So it's like, I like knives, endless fun, screams, nothing new to me. Will be like the next one. It seems like I'm the hostile type, and it flips back to covered in blood from this horror life of dreams. Feel it, live it, kill it, dig a hole and put us in it. We'll crawl back because we're here to stay, because we're the trash you throw away. And I feel like in this verse, we're just looking at this like sensationalized, maybe violence-driven, charged up group of outcasts, people who feel neglected type of shit that's going on. You know, a way of just this, and I don't know, like just how everyone almost is like this. And even if it's not so extreme as liking knives and whatever, I'd still feel like people kind of all fit this prototype these days. Everyone's kind of charged up about their own thing, and deep down inside of their soul, there's a little bit of this brewing. But I really like the chorus with the, if I'm vulnerable, so are they, come to kill, screaming my name, middle fingers locked and loaded, fuck them all, let him die. And when I think about that, it's like, if you feel this anxiety, like everyone's coming at you, maybe everyone else is also feeling this way. So they're coming at you, you know, they're screaming out your name. And you're like, well, fuck that. I'm going to live the way I want. I'm going to do my thing. And it almost creates this divisiveness. So y'all just end up being a little polarized and with a bunch of middle fingers flying at everyone, hating some shit, you know? And then I love the fuck them all. I've been a victim of getting chopped while I'm standing tall, you know? And just the idea of like, well, I'm trying to live my life proper and do some shit. Everyone's out there with their fucking malice and their fucking pain feelings and, you know, just coming at me and taking me down, taking me off of my pedestal, even if I earn that pedestal. So I like how he's like lost in an imagination, somewhere up inside of a dream. I'm somewhere and I'm still nothing to you. And then if we think about just how the world is, I'm out doing my own thing, and really at the end of the day, I'm in my own little bubble, and maybe you're aware of it, but there's a good chance you're not and whatnot. And it's just how you feel about me is I'm an irrelevant thing. Even if you're like my fan, even if you're somebody that thinks behind that suit's the shit, at the end of the day, I'm probably still kind of nothing to you beyond just a face that talks to you sometimes about music. So I really appreciate just this kind of like meta look at stuff. And then that second verse, it's like, I like bullets, guns, endless fun, rights, are we men or mice, opinions posted up for likes, delete it, tweet it, feed it, fight it, break its back, leave it bleeding out on the mat, standing over your opponent feels better than the other way now, don't it? And it sounds to me like this is just how everyone's got their opinions, and the way we debate online isn't so much about finding truth in a situation, but a lot more about being right and about winning. So the way we are just competitive and the way we're all driven, it's like, we throw out our opinions, we delete statuses, we tweet new shit, we just fight, and we go out of our way to try and destroy someone, like that meme that's like when you're losing a fight and the person makes a grammatical error, so you go in for the fucking kill and you throw insults around and shit. And I don't know, I just feel like there's this like lust for this kind of chaos, and I think that part of the song is to be like, maybe the way we treat opinions is similar to the lust for violence that we have out there. So I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was my favorite one to listen to so far. I'm hooked on this song. Couldn't recommend it enough. Granted, if you're looking for a hip-hop song, maybe not the one for you, but if you want some hard-driven shit, totally, absolutely worth your fucking time. I love the back and forth. I like this a lot. 5 on 5. Brilliant fucking track. There is a little bit of an electric element built into it, like EDM-y kind of effecty shit, and I think that's also really cool how nothing that they do is really like a pure genre. It's more like how they confuse genres and create something new. No, that was the last song. Anyway, I guess you can say they have a sick mind. Terrible segue.
You guessing, just shut the fuck up, it's about to get messy, so stop the confessing, it's too late, I bet you.
Alright, so we go from like punk, let's call it, just to be simple here, and we migrate into what I call a creepy rap beat with triplet flows. Like, I'm in such a fucking dark place, I look in the mirror, but I don't know who that is. Like that, like triplet flow thing that everyone's up to, and I like it. I don't know why anyone hates the triplet flow. I know Snoop Dogg made fun of it for a quick minute, but I think it sounds dope. And I think the idea that like this beat, it's like you can tell they're like, yeah, needed that flow, let's go with it, run with it. And as a rapper, Monoxide is proving again how versatile and dope he is. So I thought it was cool. In this first verse, it feels like Monoxide is kind of setting you up to this creepiness inside of his mind, how he feels like an outcast, so he maybe feels a little sick. Like, I'm in such a fucking dark place, I just said that part, but like, I look in the mirror and I don't know who that is. I just know that it's not my face. Feeling unusual, that is my usual. Albeit beautiful mind state. What will I do to you? Maybe some voodoo. Who knows what I'll try? I'm so sick in the mind. And he kind of rolls on through, like, like confusing. Sorry, this one really cracked me up. I wanted to point this one out. And I heard him like cattle. I don't think I'm even using it right, like confusing a spoon with a knife. And I think that is playing up on the fact that he says, and I heard him, in the sense like hurt or heard, like I heard them, like voices or whatever. And he basically uses the word heard wrong on purpose and calls himself out with it. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fucking funny a little bit, and I just enjoyed that. And it flows on through, and it's really great to listen to, I think. And he just kind of paints this picture as he keeps going. Like, as the verse ends up, it's like, funny how the mind can be intertwined with the dark side. From a thin line of the maniacal salt mind, the benefit, who gives a shit, it's irrelevant. Like contaminated evidence, I do it for the hell of it. And medicine ain't helping, so murder is my element. And and then the chorus kind of questions, have you come in contact with this sick mind? The shadows are the only ones ever listening, Like, have you ever met this type of person that Monoxide is just painted out? This person with maybe crazy feelings and insane desires and, some of the shit that they experience is, if you listen to their career, they've made many a song expressing some crazy ass shit like that. But then Jamie Madrox, I think, flips your expectations a bit and actually brings some more meaning to the song. Imperfections less than perfect, examining inward for outward purpose. These spoken words, they provide a service to those who need them. They're feeling worthless. So right off the jump, it's like you might look at it a certain way, but everything that we're doing has a reason for it, because there's a lot of people out there who hear our songs and kind of relate to it because they feel a certain way, like worthless. These feelings surface in times like these. World can make you feel like you're a disease. Been there, done that, got lost, came back, with trace, lost track, so familiar, constantly cool like it's always December. Lack of emotions I cannot remember. Going through notions that fit in society. This is shit like I can relate to. I'm not really a fan of the normative behaviors that's expected of everyone, or the fashion choices, or the way that we're all supposed to kind of behave the same way, or the fact that people don't really like the truth and everyone's kind of more interested in this like social politics and all the nuanced crap that's out there. And I feel like what this whole second verse is trying to do is be like, look, there's a lot of people out there who feel a certain way, maybe a little bit on the dark side of life, in touch with their more sinful nature or their more darker compulsions. And I think the second verse is being like, well, society really ostracizes these motherfuckers, and like a lot of these people are out there and really shouldn't be shamed in the way that they are. Maybe I'm just adding my own little subjective interpretations to it, but I'll be alive in the revelry, generally lost in empathy, mentally find an identity. Words are my weaponry, still no serenity. Will not let me be, so I become what they needed me, killing my needs and defeating me, bringing me down to the point where I look in the mirror and wonder why you still believe in me. So that's at the end of the second verse, where it's like when you do break down and conform, it's like you stop recognizing yourself, you stop being it. And like you can only imagine as an entertainer the amount of demands made on them to be something different than who the fuck they are when they are these people. I don't know, maybe I'm going too far off in a direction with it, but I really liked the subject matter of this song. However, the sound of it was just not as good, although it was going to be really hard to follow up the best track I heard so far. So I'm giving this a 4.35. It's so well made, it's so impressive. Like it's absolutely shocking to me that Twiztid is not really like top charting right now. Like this album, 6 tracks in, 6 distinct styles. Like where the fuck is the journalism? Like where's the little thing, Google card that pops up going, yo, Twiztid did some dope shit? I don't know. I don't see it. And I'm looking at it like, as far as accolades go, why isn't this considered hyper impressive? Like not a lot of people can be this versatile on a project and pull it off. Anyway, next track on the album is Here with the Dead. From the days that I wrote on the papyrus. So from like a sound perspective, this one has more of like when I say old school, I don't mean like super old school. I mean like early 2000s, like dun, 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 kind of like arpeggio hugging fucking beat like that. And then everything about the way they rap this shit is just sad sounding. Like they just got this like overall heaviness to their tone of their voice, you know? And even from the way Jamie starts us off, far from the place that I feel that I'm more adjacent, in some of the spaces that I'm facing better views of amazing greatness, so I place myself and I'm patient, humble and laying bricks like a mason with determination, but I'm frustrated because everything is faded, and am I the one who became jaded somewhere in the midst of this shit? It's so beyond complicated. And Again, I hear words like that little snippet there, and I just picture my life as, again, I'm 31. I'm not young quite like people chasing dreams are. I've spent 7 years trying to build to not much success. I've emulated the great things I see. I've met so many crazy, interesting people, and ultimately, you know, you're left with determination, frustration, which leads into... So being determined and constantly being frustrated will, in fact, make you kind of jaded with the world and maybe a little bit darkness, you know? And I really, again, I just felt like I connected so deeply with the songs they're writing. It's just maybe they're just the kind of people who are writing for all the rappers on the grind. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And the verse kind of, like, flows on through in the same kind of way, like... but a short period of time allowed to shine like I'm sacred. They cannot take it. If I stop, is it back to basics? Persuasion of games, karma screaming in their face, making sure the world knows they'll never replace us. I'm blasted, who's asking for a quick ride and fuck fave glove when real homies died for this, you know, like, we're just trying to build, we're trying to do our thing. At the end of the day, you know, a lot of people are making it more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory what's going on here. And then the chorus has them just trying to like deal with shit, and it's getting harder, and there's a lot of problems in terms of your like mind state, and it is an extremely challenging thing. Like you may have noticed if you are a regular fan of this channel, there was not a lot of videos last week. Well, I needed a little break for a quick minute just because, well, A, it was holidays, and B, it was like, man, sometimes when you look at low performing shit after a while, you just need to like take a couple days away so you can come back enthusiastic and ready to talk about Twiztid. Monoxide does the whole second album the second verse, I'm the evil incarnate, riding in cars with humanity's vomit, feeling lethargic, hiding in bars because I no longer wanted to keep you feeling bizarre, like I'm a circus performer. And flowing on a bit, you must be snorting. I'm Ralph Camden, you Ed Nortons. So Ralph Cramden is apparently a guy who loses a lot and has bad luck. And I feel like Monoxide follows suit and just pointing out they're like the dredges of life. They're not really doing very well. Maybe they're not being given the esteem and shit, kind of like what I was saying on the last one. And fuck the smoke, I bring the pterodome like pee. Give me every single word that I wrote on a CD. I'm giving pink slips to dick lips who think this. It's just some internet talk. We don't really eat this. People who maybe don't appreciate Twiztid for who they are. Maybe they get a lot of haters. I really don't know, but I'm assuming that that's the case given how they feel. So maybe not a lot of people are listening to the albums and seeing how fucking dope they are. Because, I'm 2 for 2 with thinking Twiztid is dope in terms of shit I reviewed so far. So, I feel like this song was really dope. It was really good to listen to. Like, it really hit more of like a proper rap feeling I was looking for on this album. And I like the fact that I found so many proper feelings I was looking for on this album so far, leaving me with giving this song a 4.5 on 5, which I'm going to say is like the standard for a lot of the songs on this album. Really well made in the respective hybrid genre they're going for. Anyway, track 8 on this project is called Disappear.
Controlling my left eye, now I'm stuck with this twist and all the souls over my body.
Monoxide sets this up in verse 1, and I don't really know how to describe the sound of this one. It sounds different than the other ones, more of an upbeat, kind of bouncy kind of flow to it. The rap is more constant, just almost storytelling-esque. Please don't let me go outside of my bedroom or I won't live another day. I promise I'll be dead soon. You cannot understand the kind of life that I've gone through is what I tell myself to feel better, but it don't really help. Rather place blame, live in shame. It's so inane, it's my fault. And it kind of goes into this like pity trip where, this person is like, I can't live without you. I need you to help me. I'm incapable of dealing with any of my stuff. I can't deal with my own withdrawal. I don't want to be another junkie on a leash just blowing through my life like garbage in the streets. So I can, basically, it's almost like painting it out like this person who's just fucked up so bad and is like caught up in all the worst mental traps there are to keep yourself down and is passing the blame on to anything else rather than trying to look for accountability within themselves and all of this stuff. And then it just kind of ends with this almost like, I really want to escape this, and maybe they won't make the same kind of mistakes as I've done, but if they do, or at least they get a chance to see the only outcome. So then it's more like, I've done all of this shit, so maybe if I put it out on display, other people can learn from my mistakes. But then it flows into this chorus where it's like, all my problems go and disappear. Close my eyes and then hold in my head I can't. Open my eyes I hope, and that everything's going to disappear. And that is a way I think a lot of people live, where like a lot of shit's going on. You've got problems, for myself, there's just certain problems where I close my eyes and I hope they disappear. There's some stuff it's like you're so good at dealing with and it's so easy, but like other things just slip your mind and you just conveniently like push them off. Like I have an ambulance bill and I just happened to not pay for a long time, so now it's a collections thing I have to deal with, which is stupid. I shouldn't have done that, but all I have to do is call them up and arrange some shit, and I just never seem to get around to doing it. I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna close my eyes and hope it all disappears. Still, I like that. But in the second verse, I feel like we get this tone shift again, which I think they've been doing a lot on this album, like a context setting first verse, or a certain feeling gets put into the first verse, and then the second verse kind of subverts it. So instead of being so pathetic, it's almost like now you have to overcome a little bit, like tell me what you see when my thoughts manifest, like a noose on my neck and the bricks on my feet and a demon on my chest, and it listens when I see complicated. Life changes once, either mutate with it or you live in disgust. I'm like, right over there, you start to see like some tone shift going on here. So it starts off like everything's fucked up and there's obstacles and there's problems, it kind of like the same as the first guy's thing, but now it's like you either change or you roll with the punches or you're gonna be fucking unhappy. Overcome by the pressure like a fish belly up. Obstacles in life can be different various to the ones that break the bread and eat the crust. Some throw you in the wheels and under the bus. Try to be different, try to love and trust, but the bad taste lingers like a memory of us. I can't change it back, but I can back it up. And so you get the sense that, life's going to have some consequences and darkness, but the overall point of the second verse is that it's how you live with your shit, how you move on from the different obstacles that changes everything. So if you're going to pass the buck and be a loser with it, you're going to be miserable. But if you try to always look for the silver linings or the educational nuggets in your hardships, you're going to be able to move on. Your life's a mess. I'll make it crystal clear. Take a listen here. You can change gears. Fuck fear. This ends on a pretty strong note. And again, we're dealing with maybe a generation that doesn't actually have people saying this kind of shit to them, whereas it's almost like in our efforts to allow to be positive, to always be positive, this overwhelming need for happiness because we're so fucking depressed because life is so fucking miserable that we overcompensate. But in all of this, it's we don't allow ourselves to have honest conversations. And I feel like this entire project so far has been okay, let's have an honest conversation about some shit. So I feel like Disappear follows suit proper. It's really dope. I give it a 4.5 on 5. Totally a great track. Why don't we move on now and talk about Bring Me Back? I mean, it starts off and Jamie Madrox does this screamy kind of singy voice this displays feelings for you, and he kind of delivers it like that. And I mean, it's cool. It's definitely different. It's we've left, and at first I wasn't sure if this was even going to be on a rap song because it's only 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So I was all right, we're doing this shit. I'm such a mess that I don't know what I'm supposed to do. If I try, I'll probably fail like I did in the past. This existential hate always floating out of my drinking glass. And again, I'm struck with this, wow, some honest and real emotion being put out there. So, I feel a lot of people have this displaced feeling and that they feel like they're a mess and everything they try is a fuck up and things don't actually work and they don't actually win. So they don't even try anymore because they're just likely going to fail. And I think that people then suppress themselves and get lost in their various escapist activities to avoid the potential for failure, because being productive and focusing is a risk. Anyway, then it's shatter me, cut yourself on broken pieces. You never want to believe, bring me down. You are the weight on my shoulders, slowly pushing me back. And maybe there's calling out again towards this sense where this negative energy just kind of is toxic and sucks everybody into it. And it's when you are trying to escape it, everything just wants to bring me back. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed the point of how this is. Still, the chorus has a bring me back. I just want to, and just kind of flows in, and I'm all right. And then Monoxide starts rapping. I'm oh, cool. We got rap and the screamy, singy shit on this track. We need more of that in life. I'm going to throw it out there. We just need more people doing this shit in life. They said we were dead when we left them, we'd never be nothing, but we kept on coming and coming and coming, so who gives a fuck about them, what them bitches said. Want to pinpoint me like an infrared dot, it don't matter like your Instagram comment. Take a whole lot more to hurt me than words and chirping from birds with no curve, with no knowledge. I'm going to assume this is a lot of people who assume that when they left Psychopathic to go do Magic Ninja Entertainment, they would be worthless, but they kept persevering, they kept building. They got dope dudes like G-Moski, and all the other guys that are there, and it really just focus, it just flowed in fuck your opinion, fuck your haterisms, fuck your crap. We kept persevering, we kept killing it, and now we're winning. Anyone else who's fucked off or is scared isn't. I really appreciated that sentiment. We're not gonna let your hater shit keep us down. We kept doing our shit and we kept winning. And then we get the third verse where Jamie comes back and it's coffin-shaped heart, you don't live here because you're not asleep yet. There'll always be a snooze button in life, no reset, no respect when I reflect and I eject. Hot tears tear up in Kleenex hoping to be next. I came from a long line of freak shows and rejects with problems way deeper than a V-neck line saying I'm going to try to do better next time. So it's kind of he's painting out this insecure group of people who, instead of trying to actually change their things and maybe deal with their stuff and go ahead on into it and get some courage and some cojones in their situation, they're people who hit that snooze button and procrastinate to later points and don't actually grow any spine with it, And overall, I like the fact that they're trying to go and move on from wherever they're at, and they don't like the fact that other people are trying to bring them back. And if you think about it in a more real life perspective kind of way, often when you try to grow out of your current circumstances or you try to move on to another thing, the people in your world don't like it, especially the more jealous ones, and they will go out of their way to almost make you fail or to hurt you so that you can't have a better world than them. I don't know. It's really dope. I do think that Jamie Madrox and Monoxide are like a padlock, and they are the key to the bridge and beyond. More than a phenom, infinite like the shit we be on. No, honestly, they're fucking dope. I really appreciated this one. I give it a 4.6 on 5. I wasn't sure exactly if I was going to keep liking it this much after, so again, I went a little conservative with it, but it's definitely better to me than the 4.5 ones I've been giving. Dope track. Why do we move on to another one I thought was phenomenal? Let's talk about Magic Spellz. This song is fucking cool. It's back onto that more rocky, like, hard rock style. I don't know what genre it is. I'm sorry. But, like, Monoxide comes in with this nice, like, slower rap. I wouldn't say singy, but, like, he's delivering it with, like, a cadence of what his sung verse would be. Like, what I feel lately is 50 shades of hate me, and I can't seem to break free, and I don't know what I'm feeling. Maybe myself medicating at the point of breaking. I'm not sure if you're relating. I just need to feel like I'm the one worth saving. And yeah, I can imagine if you're going through this world where everyone's fucking hating on you and shit, you know, you get caught in these cycles. Maybe you puff a little bit of chronic or whatever to numb the pain and just kind of cope throughout the day. And at the end of the day, when you are pushing yourself through and everyone's coming at you negatively, you kind of start craving and looking for anybody to be like, nah, you're normal. Like, you're right, you know, like, you're feeling some justified shit, which is why I think, like, when you do find that person, you get these feelings like, you lift me up in times when I want to die, intoxicated by your magic spells you weave all the time, you bring me down every time I feel alive, I'm trying, I'm living, I'm dying this minute. And maybe it's also commenting on how when we feel that way, when we look for that person to pick us up, we get this kind of codependent nature where it's like, when I'm up, you're up, and when I'm down, you're down, and we kind of deal with shit in a really bad way. And it's toxic in a sense. I know that word is used a lot, but toxic behavior isn't just toxic masculinity. It's just, there's toxic behavior and there's non-toxic behavior. I don't know. I like how in the second verse when he goes, switch it now, change the day, and take whatever comes my way, I gotta say it, like, the whole beat changes. He's like sings it out differently. It's really fucking cool. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit dealing with the criticisms and maybe the dependencies that come trying to escape it all, and is another look at just some of the shit they're dealing with. Overall, we're flowing it down with a great almost rock song in the middle of his project. I think the energy is incredible. We again get this honesty, this like emotional exposure where it's like they're wearing their heart on their sleeves, and I'm really impressed with it. I think this one is a 5 on 5. I think it sounds absolutely brilliant. It is totally a song I'm going to want to listen to again, and I think that they managed, even within the rock side of it, to sound different every single time, which is fucking cool. I don't have a lot more to comment on this one. It's just really dope. The next one is called Livin, @ the bottom. So, like, I think this one is maybe taking a look at how they're perceived in life and how they're choosing to approach it. Like I said, we've been living at the bottom for too long, and we celebrated ourselves. I got a new life in this hold up, go start splashing that cold duck. We celebrated like a motherfucker. Y'all brought it back like show enough. We celebrating ourselves. So it's like, in a stark contrast to like all of the negative criticism and maybe some of the attitude that we've seen across this album, where a lot of people are kind of caught up in not being able to deal with the obstacles of life. They've painted out the obstacles that they're dealing with, and their big response is like this middle finger where it's like, yo, we're fucking celebrating ourselves and shit. And then it flows into the first verse for Madrox, where, we've been immersing the abuse and continue to treat family like an excuse for the way that we were treated, misleaded, in an attempt to belittle and repeat it and cannot defend it. That's probably the reason we're independent. No new friends out of the question. It's like a meadow of unspoken sins, like who's to live by. Let's go back to that no new friends without a question. What if they signed, like, some new act? Would that not be a new friend? Sorry, I understand the premise of the no new friends idea, where like whoever was down and you can trust is somebody you can trust, and people that you can't, like, it's all about that shit. But I always think it's a little silly because all these people have new friends. I'm certain if like one of their idols who is not their friend showed up, wanted to be their friend, they'd be into it. I'm just trying to point it out like that. Look, I'm not trying to be that person. I'll move on. But still, I get the feeling it's just kind of talking about how the industry treated them, how maybe their former partners treated them, how everyone kind of looked down on them. And maybe they looked at it like, okay, we can like accept this and tolerate it because we're just trying to be down with the family. We're trying to be down with everybody. But at the end of the day, maybe shit was a little bit fucked up. And that's the reason that we're independent, Once a homie, now you can give a fuck if you live or die. One foot in the casket, the other in the real world. I know it sounds drastic, but I'm telling you how I feel, girl. So you get this. I took it like you're talking about a bit about Violent J, but like, maybe just commenting in general of anyone who's crossed them. So I thought it was pretty solid. Really set it up nice in terms of just what it's like to feeling like you're at the bottom, maybe underappreciated, and knowing who's to blame and feeling a certain way about it, Monoxide does the second verse. It ain't about who's right, it's about who's first. Lies calling and the truth hurts. Misled on that new church. Put that on God like a new shirt. I'm sick and tired of feeling like I am. Keep biting my tongue while they all get their lies spun. Just want them to die, son. Set it on the right, son, for me to oblige none. I get the sense that. Oh, and then it flows on a bit to, you don't have to wait for that kill addiction. R.I.P. Mac Miller. Listen, wish it was you in his position. Who else I got in my vision? So I feel like it's the same idea here. They are tired of people talking shit, maybe making things up about them, not appreciating who they are, just propagating stuff where in general they appear to have been silent, maybe where they don't feel like they want to come and talk about stuff, but at the same time they want to address the fact that like instead of losing somebody good for the world like Mac Miller, maybe if certain other people who are maybe not so honorable had passed, it would have been a better situation. So it's subtle in the sense that they're not like directly stating names, but I get a feeling like anyone who's been paying attention, which is probably more you person watching this than me, has a good idea what they're talking about. And I really like this track. I think it was proper, has a good vibe to it. It's more on the rap side of things. I don't know if I know exactly what genre. I feel like most of my descriptive words have been used by now, so it's more on the rap side of things. I give it a 4.5. It's a totally fucking good song. And the next one is called Skit 17.
Friend, everything disgusting is all the same until you speak, but nobody ever listens.
This one is just all Jamie Madrox, and it's kind of like a singy rappy kind of feel to it. It almost feels upbeat, but like at the same time cynical. In Jamie, he starts us off with wrap your nightmares up in dreams and try to be successful. We're all playing the same stupid game. It's just some of us are on different levels. We all started with good intentions, but battle come in the way it does to knock. You can pretend you're not home, but you know it will return because it's life and it's never going to stop. So we're all clout chasing. We're all trying to achieve what we're trying to get out of life. We're all trying to grow, but the truth is we're all at different places. We all start out trying to be noble, but along the way shit fucks it up. And you can pretend like, whatever you want, but when you're pretending, the truth is going to come out and bite you in the ass. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a good start to it all. Then in the chorus, it's like, listen, I'm done with like playing this game and trying to appease everybody and dealing with the toxic shit that's out there on the internet and the public reactions and whatnot. And then in the second verse, it's a little bit more like, go find your true purpose. Don't let people insult you and bring you down. Don't let people like hate on you in such a negative way. Don't waste time on negative reality. Sometimes you gotta believe. Sing, and then no matter the words, the world will never change. Like that's how it kind of ends in that line after the second hook, and it's really kind of cool that like it's like this sweet little. You know what? Even if you're living at the bottom, even if all that, because that's the last song again, and it like kind of correlates to the previous track, which I feel like each of the songs kind of correlate to the previous track. So if you're listening to it all in a row, there is a sequence and flow as the story of the emotion of this album moves along. And after, addressing the hatred, it's almost like here's how you deal with the hatred. You ignore it. You focus on you. You focus on your growth, and then you're not going to have any problems. Well, you'll have problems, but you can't indulge that shit. You can't like focus on all of the ways that people are going to criticize you. If you stick to your truth and you move proper, you're going to grow and get what you want out of it all. Anyway, I give it a 4.5 on 5. Really dope track. I'm really honestly, we're over halfway through this album, although we're probably more than halfway through in length, because this one was 1.5 minutes, and the next one's less than 2 minutes, and there's a couple others that are really short at the second half of this album, so that is interesting. I don't dislike it at all. This one works. I don't think that there's anything more that could have been done to elongate this song that would have not felt like stretching it. So this is a weird time where I'm really feeling that 90 seconds. Anyway, y'all might be going, okay, move on, let it flow.
Fucking assholes. I'm riding past those people in my past foes, hoes and traps.
This has this fun, snarky little beat, almost like a lounging at a piano with some hip hop under it. And it just has this funness to it where you haven't maybe had this overall fun energy before, right off the jump. Light off the cigar and tell that fat lady to sing. Because when it's over, the fat lady sings, so they're celebrating, they're fucking winning, they're murking that shit, they're letting it flow. This is Monoxide starting us off. Once again, we raised the bar, and I ain't talking about Irish Spring. Fuck, I wanted to go check if I had a bar Irish Spring soap so I could hold it up, so then I could be like that, but I forgot to do that. But yeah, so, they raised the bar to standards, and if you look at the versatility on this project, I actually think that this album is a standard-setting thing of what more people should be trying to do, as opposed to talking about cocaine and fucking hoes like the underground really likes to do. We really want making it hard for these other rappers to breathe like a boa constrictor with every mic that I squeeze. Bitch, please get up off your goddamn knees. Yes, I'm rapping like the motherfucking 1990s. I still sound better with every letter I type into this iPhone. I'm like, that's amazing. So he comes in, he's fucking dope, he's a good rapper. He still raps like it's the old days, like he's not one of these new age mumbly fuckers. And he juxtaposes that, but I write by typing words into an iPhone. I'm using modern tech to be dope while still being traditional with it. I'm a tadpole, you're a tadpole. That's fucking dope. He's hitting it with the reel and you're just a little fishy. Anyway, it's pretty dope. It's really fucking fun. So let it flow is the chorus as Jamie sings it out. And then he does the second verse. If you're a painter who need a painter teach you how to paint, you probably shouldn't be painting in the first place. And I love that idea. Something that's always baffled me is art school. I want to throw in that I make music, I rap, and I've been teaching myself how to sing over the last long time. And I'm not good at singing yet. I'm a pretty decent rapper, but as far as singing goes, I'm not terrible. I've moved into a nice, comfy, lower end of middle ground, so I'm mediocre, but I'm lukewarm. I'm not good yet. But I did take 3 singing lessons, but I had the passion to keep at it. Literally, nobody can really teach you how to do this shit. They can just kind of give you homework assignments and force you to practice it. So the idea of somebody going to school and actually needing somebody to teach them shit when they could go on the internet and look it up. If you have a passion for it, you're gonna drive yourself. You're gonna educate and teach yourself. Now, I'm not saying you don't collaborate and that you don't go out there and meet people and network and grow your craft. What I'm saying is if you're gonna go rely on somebody to teach you how to do it, there's a good chance that you're not gonna get it because you either have the drive to teach yourself to get that knowledge and do it, or you don't. And that's just, so I love that. I love how he starts off that part. Like a drug with the first taste, make you feel like you are the greatest, like a modern day Da Vinci, anything to be famous, any work you do, next project, you got to excel at, don't get ahead of reality, let your listeners tell it, blah, blah, blah. So it's keep grinding, keep trying to be the best. You know, I really like the chatty, tacky itches, thinking they can do what we do better with the quickness. You can never play this position, so go on, hush your hole and take a listen, man. We get spitting gifted, taking a shit on any of the competition. Witness the demented duo as we be getting lifted. This track was dope. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.5. I thought it was really, really enjoyable. Oh shit, I actually fucked up. I gave Skit 17, the last track, a 4.25. I was looking at the wrong notes, but I did give this one a 4.5. Yeah, I get Skit 17. It's definitely not as good as this one. This one is definitely better than that one. I really just enjoyed like the flossiness to it. It's just like, again, a reminder that, yo, as much as we can do all this other shit, we can also do this shit too. We can rap proper, and we're confident in that. Something I wanted to point out at some point listening to this album is I feel like Tech Nine gets a lot of credit on being like versatile as fuck and shit, but I really think Twiztid has been versatile as fuck for a very long time too. And like, I don't see how like people are going to be putting Tech Nine up here, but they're not looking at Twiztid and giving him a lot of love. Because as much as maybe they're not chopping on every fucking song, they have content, and I really appreciate that. Just wanted to throw it out there. This is like what I hope for, like the sound distribution here. It's kind of like what I was hoping for from a Tech Nine project. Now I haven't listened to the latest Tech one, so I'll have to go listen to Nina and see if it's good or not. And I don't want to like take shots at anybody or, you know, say anybody's better than it, whatever. But I like Twiztid a lot more than I like Tech Nine, and they're really hitting that urge of that all over the place fucking crazy shit in terms of versatility. And so yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. Why don't we move on to Don't Be Hatin'? Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have been hating right before this one.
How many influence to fit on need a minute?
So this is a cool fucking song, and it features Young Wicked, and like the beat's just kind of fun and like popping, like there's like actual clappings and shit going on in the chorus, like don't be hating, I done heard it all before, don't be hating, you don't need no talent for. You know, it's just fucking good. It's just got this energy to it where you're like flossing. It's like they proved they could rap. Now they're proving that their life is actually kind of dope, and you shouldn't be a hater. Now, hating is when you're a little bit jealous of somebody. So, to be fair, I'm not jealous of Tech Nine, so I wasn't actually hating on him. I'm a little bit weirded out by the fact that everyone obsesses about Tech Nine the way that they do, when guys like Twiztid are clearly more interesting. At least to me. To me, they're more interesting. But hating involves jealousy. So to be a hater, you are jealous of somebody, therefore you say negative things about that person in order to belittle them in some way. So don't be hate. You know what? We did the cook. But back when we was broke, there was still hating then. I like that idea because like they were dealing with haters from like the point where they had nothing. But well, now they're not at the point where they have nothing. So in the first verse, rock flows in this like thirsty hoes. These rappers want to get chosen. It's hypocrites. It's calling Twiztid a bitch. Check the record sales. See who off and on like a light switch. You calling us sellouts. I call you fair weather fam. Only cool to the OG fella. You in love with a concept that the other rappers and record companies want to apply to a project. Now there's a couple of things in there. So y'all like they do their shit and they're fucking proper with it. Fine. They check the record sales. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. All right, so maybe they don't have the most consistent career. But I like the idea of you calling a sellout. I call you fair weather fam. And that's an interesting point because why is it that like if you want to make a living or gain some capital off of your fucking art that you're instantly like a sellout? Like if you put all of the time and effort into your shit, like shouldn't you get a little bit paid for it? Like as much as I'm not asking for money here, I mean part of my hopes with this podcast is I can get a sponsorship deal or something where it can like offset my expenses in life and maybe allow me to focus more on this. But based on some people's perspectives, that makes me a sellout. Okay, but like we're all sellouts. You don't do anything without like an end goal in mind. So anyway, that's fine. Then you got like the second verse where Jimmy Madrox comes in. You know, I'm at a level they'll never get. They tell me to keep it real. They hit me off with the counterfeit underground. I sold a mill. You say I'm irrelevant because I don't mumble none of my words and worship the devil. It's a goddamn shame. Yep, I say God. Next time you hear me say it, you know I'm referring to I, not EYE, but ME. That's interesting because I've been reading the gospel of hip hop where, like, if you're a proper hip hopper, you are to become a god within yourself and etc. So it's interesting just to kind of almost see, like, there's like this, to me, it looks like this subtle nod to like proper conventional hip hop culture being like thrown in, and like self preservation and who I am, and the way people shit on them, even though they've had actual legitimate success, where again, they should be getting praised more than they actually are. Anyway, I really like that. And then the third verse is Young Wicked kicking it in. And I haven't heard a lot from Young Wicked, but I really like a lot of what I've heard from him. What they hating on me for is because my dough is rising. Yeah, I'm caking on these hoes. I go Jason on these hoes. No escape for all these hoes. Call the jigs. All of y'all are fake. Stay where y'all belong. Up under my balls. Open your jaw. It's braggadocious. It's fine. I'm not saying it's the most, like, none of this song is meant to be the most riveting conscious shit. But we've already gotten a bunch of conscious shit, so that's fine. The next track on this album's conscious shit. That's fine. Instead, what we're getting here is fun braggadocious. Like, look, my life is good now. You can try to invalidate my goodness, but really you're just coming off like a motherfucking hater. Overall, super enjoyable track. I give it a 4.5 on 5. Really great one. The next track, though, like I said, is a little bit more conscious, a little bit more conceptual as we discuss role models. So it starts off, and there's like this little, Jamie's doing a little accent, and he's like, I'm going to tell you something straightforward. 9 times out of 10, the people that you look up to are looking down on you. Never forget that. Now, come on, go. So it's like a little mafia type dude, and it's like pointing out, like, look, you might look up to these celebrities and these role models and these people that you actually look up to, but most of the time they really don't give a fuck about you, to a point where they look down on you. I think the world's perfect example of that is Taylor Swift, where she clearly doesn't give that big of a fuck about her fans, but she clearly likes their money. That's a good way to look at it. So what's this song gonna be about? Well, it's gonna be about some direct role models that exist in life, and maybe some of the things that they have taught us. And I think it's a really good song for that purpose. Donald Trump told us all that it's never too pushy to walk up to a woman and describe her by pussy. Harvey Weinstein said that he's been doing it for years. He's even got himself a slogan, suck my dick for careers. Louis C.K. told us one time, this is how you do it. I tell them if they fuck me, then I'll put them in my movies. Here comes Kevin Spacey, says he made a mistake. Well, what you call a mistake, we just call it rape. And then brings up, what's his fucking name? Huxtable fucking, wow, I can't even remember the fucking guy. Bill Cosby. Brings up Bill Cosby. I can't believe I forgot that. And yeah, so it's like, if you really think about it, these are all like heroic figures who were all like, when I was growing up as kids, all of the people, maybe not Louis C.K., he came a bit later, but all these people are people that were like role models, people that were considered good to look up to. And everyone forgets how much Donald Trump was loved. I don't forget how much Donald Trump was loved. Everyone was like okay with it when he was a billionaire asshole. They just weren't okay with it when he was a billionaire asshole who became the president. But like ultimately, all these people were raised up and like whatever, and then they did all these bad things. So it's a good like looking at how all of these people who we put on pedestals and look up to are maybe not teaching us the best lessons. And then in the second verse, it's a little bit more like all over with like one-liners, like Jared was a pedophile, Demi just OD'd again, Harvey liked to touch a lot, Martha fresh up out the pen, no one want a wife Rihanna, they just want a cake and so, must be more to superficial pretty singing coochie holes, Hillary done killed her own, Donald is a racist type, Obama was a pushover, and Bernie a socialite, you know. And it flows on. I really like the Triple X Temptation punched a pregnant girl. Kanye selling $1 million tease, man. Fuck the world. Although, why is Tyler said he likes the boys up in here? Why is Tyler, the creator, fucking men, a problem here? Not really sure what I'm supposed to be taking from. Like, why did he get mixed into a literal verse with Jared the pedophile? That seems like a risky thing to do in an era where, like, even, like, if y'all don't like gay people, that's fine. But that seems like not nice to Tyler, the Creator. I don't know. Maybe it is something to be said if you're really against that shit as a role model thing. But to me, it was like, the rest of the verse is actually really, really astute and really, really, really fucking good. I didn't even know Usher had herpes until I read this verse. But like, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The Tyler one's kind of weird. Still, the overall song's pretty great. Then there's a little bridge where it's like you get these like little cut-ins, like they call themselves Twiztid. I'm not even sure we should mess with these people. I don't think they have anything to live for. You know, we do this forever, and a lot of people have still like never heard it. We've been going for the last how many years? Fuck them all. Let them die. If it wasn't for the family that's true, we wouldn't be here right now. We would literally be homeless in an alley. So I mean, you get off this start where it's like, yo, they call themselves Twiztid. They don't even look like they care. So why should we care about them? I'm then kind of pointing out how long they've been going at this shit. And if it wasn't for the people that do support them, and that, you know, they wouldn't be here. And that's like literally wouldn't be here. They might be fucked up doing some badass shit. Anyway, I like this song a lot. I give it a 4.5. It really kind of goes to show like we were painted out as like we as in Twiztid were painted out as these terrible role models. Yet here we are spitting truth and really relatable, honest shit. Meanwhile, look at all these heroes in the world that, you know, are out there painting out way worse pictures than us. So I kind of like that. Anyway, the next track is called Wreck.
Coming in through the front door.
I'm not gonna lie, this song feels like a bad knockoff Linkin Park band. I don't mean any kind of disrespect with it. They don't sound like that. But it feels like that kind of side of nu metal that was not really my favorite. So this one did not hit me with that nostalgic, warm, fuzzy feeling as the other ones. Got past it real quick. It's still a really, really well-made song. It's more on the singier end of things. It's not so much on the rappier sides. Like, it starts off with, every time I close my eyes, I fantasize this life as an alibi to the crime of a disillusioned humanity. I think I need a reason to keep it together. I see it coming apart again. Amen. There's another ghost of my day. You know, it's more on this, okay, I'm maybe not fully there. My perception on shit's still fucked up. It's still kind of a battle. It's still not proper. My brain is leaving out the back while I'm coming in the front door. So maybe my actions aren't exactly right. And he kind of looks at a lot of maybe that confusion and insanity inside of himself again. And then that chorus is, why can't they fix me? I guess I'm a wreck, I'm fixable. It's not for a lack of trying. I become unbroken, unpredictable. All right, so after all this time, I'm feeling a certain way. It just gets worse. And the chorus kind of fills in and a little bit more like I'm just waiting for the next bad thing, you know, steer clear of my kind, you can't save me. Second verse is the same kind of thing. Every time you cross the line, you act lost in an attempt to define you. You can't look behind you. I'll be in the shadows if you blink. You think you need a reason to believe in everything that you're believing, screaming, yeah, amen. There's another ghost inside your life, and you couldn't be more afraid to embrace the change. Oh, sorry. That second verse kind of has it more almost maybe talking to that first and in the first verse where, again, it's looking at the, well, while you're saying all of this shit, you know, you could just change. You're always full of solutions, and I'm nothing but the problems surrounding you every single day, and you just push me away. Or maybe I'm confused. Maybe I really don't know what the fuck's going on. I've been criticized for doing this too many times on this podcast. I feel like maybe he's still kind of playing in that main character, being a broken mess, actually, after all. And he's dealing with a person, maybe, you know, like when you're dating a partner who's stable and you're not, and you're all like bringing them down and you feel a certain way around them. And then in the third verse, it's like, leave me alone, I'm broken or breaking. Inside my mind, you'll find there's no more solution, so confusing, and this hopelessness and whatever. And I guess my issue with this song, if there was an issue, is that it doesn't have that like happy ending or positive tone that most of the other aimless sounding songs had. It just kind of ends on this dark, I'm fucking broken tone, which I don't know, it was just weird after role models and shit. Maybe it's the consequence of those role models as you end up feeling wrecked and broken like this, because that's the world that we live in. That would make sense based on how they've constructed the rest of this project. I give it a 4.35. It is actually a really enjoyable song for the genre it's in. I feel like it's a little bit weird. Of the style of this, it's my least favorite of the rocky ones. And I don't know. I feel like it's really enjoyable until I think about it. And so it is what it is. I know that playing in the context of this album, I like this song. As far as it as a single would go, I couldn't really see myself seeking out this particular one, whereas most of the other tracks, I feel like I put them on shuffle, it would be real good. That's fine. Maybe it doesn't really matter if it matters what I think.
Lying to each other again. Bad news blues and old shoes, and these old souls love each other more than anyone else do.
So this one has like, I don't know, I guess more of a alternative rappy beat to it. It's flowing in and it's all good. I just have to point out that then you get to this chorus, and if it doesn't matter what I think, and then there's just like this now kind of like scream that goes into it. And I was like, that's a cool juxtaposition that they threw into this one. I like how at the beginning you can barely hear it. He goes, I'ma live forever, I'ma live forever, I'ma live forever, live forever. But you can barely hear it. It's like way down in volume, but it's almost meant to be like that. And then your life's an indecision. Somehow you'll never choose. No matter what the game, you'll never win you. And then that kind of is almost like a callback, I think, to an earlier track on a project in terms of the perspective of other people versus how you kind of set yourself up for failure. And then it flows into Jamie Madras going, I don't want to be lonely, I want to be alone. Too many things in my world are going on. Can't shut them off, turn the voices down. The crowded room when you want no one around overwhelms and upsets me. Feeling weak because you're not there to protect me. And so he's feeling a certain way. I really like the I don't want to be lonely, I want to be alone line. Because it's really hard to not end up feeling lonely while you're alone, even though you don't want to be around people. And you might end up feeling like in a certain way. In fact, being around people is terrible, but you want that one particular person. And I get the feeling that he's lost this person, or that things weren't like proper with them anymore. You know, feeling weak because you're not there to protect me. You tell me that everything's fine so I can realign with reality that we live in because I get lost sometimes. You're a lifeline ready to bring me back when I'm not here and I don't know how to act. You know, so it's like this person just balances them and keeps them all there. But I thought it was really interesting, you know, because, you know, so when I wake, I can go back on track and told me to go, but will you let me back in? So maybe at a different point, sometimes this conversation ends where they're together, other parts where it's not, but it's almost like he's a static in the radio station and this person can choose how to deal with this person with the dial me up, or dial me up. Every now and again, I want to be there fucked up. And you could pretend that I'm better than I've ever been, but we'd both only be lying to each other again. I'm bad news in these shoes, and these old souls love each other more than anyone else do. And so I asked before I passed through, does anyone out there feel that for you? And I think it's interesting, like the proposition is like, look, I'm fucked up and I can't even be consistent in shit. But at the end of the day, my love for you is eternal. You know, we go back so far back, and, you know, it's really interesting. And then I like the idea of then it flips into this hook where if it matters what I think now, if it doesn't matter what I think now, if it doesn't matter how I feel now, tell me where you'll be when it all falls down. Tell me where you'll be when it all falls down. And it repeats that. So, I mean, it's basically going like, if you don't care what I think now, there's no proof that you're going to care when I really need you to care. That's the kind of sentiment of it. So it's looking at, I guess, how people perceive them and their reactions to it. Monoxide in the second verse starts off with, I can see right through you, never nothing more than cellophane, so clear what your agenda was to put us all in a shallow grin, but career suicide wasn't a game I was ready to play. Now I'm living it every day with every word I say. It's a gamble I'm willing to take, put it all out on dimmer plates. And again, I'm feeling like you get the isolated, dark feeling on the first verse, and then maybe the response coming in the second verse where it's like, you know what, maybe I depended on you so much in that first verse and it was bad because you didn't really care what I thought in the first place. So here it's like, well, since you didn't care, now I'm going out there and doing what I'm I'm trying to accomplish all of my shit. And I'm not willing to fuck certain things up or let you go in a certain way. I'm going out there to accomplish, you know, and these are the risks I'm willing to take. You know, spending summer to winter just thinking, gotta get away from the bitter people. They like literally just litter me with the hate, hoping I'll break, sinking to the bottom on the blackest lake. So it's when you start to look around and realize the toxicity of your situation and you want to get out of it and want to make your whole world get better. I don't know, this is what I was looking for in terms of that positive, uplifting feeling at the end of a song that was maybe missing on Wreck, but I really like this one. I don't know that it's like my favorite sound. I definitely like it more than I like Wreck, but it's not as good as Role Models will say. So I gave it a 4.4. I do think it's a great song, and I don't think anything on this album is below good. Like, it's all really strong and really well-made music that we've heard so far. So with that being said, there are 3 left on the project, and why don't we talk about For the Nightmare Children.
Only your medicine. We are red, we're everything, the living and the dead.
So I completely forgot to mention this, but something that was fascinating about the way they stylized all the song titles is they only use little letters. That's why you'll see wherever, it's about here, that it's all little letters. Normally I put it all caps, but since Twiztid made it all little letters for this project, it's all little letters. This one is like this like anthemic feeling track, like the beat evolves as it goes along. I kind of feel like it's an anthem for the broken and the people maybe not feeling a certain way. So maybe it's like all the people that they've been kind of writing about in this album who maybe haven't been able to find a way, and it's kind of like wrapping it up into like this is their track. You know, we are the anguished, the forgotten, looked over and pushed aside. We're fluent, we speak the language, the nightmare is real. This is the generation taught to be crippled by emotions and how they feel, hearts led and blind, always trying to get behind all the while falling further behind. If I'm living, I'm learning, consistent, determined to be the voice for those unable to speak, somewhere between the powerful and the weak. We are the void, let the music complete you again onto your medicine. So this is looking at like the kids born today and the lessons being taught. And if you look at our emotion driven opinions over facts mentality, it's like it's looking at how these whole generations almost living through a waking nightmare because they can't handle anything and they can't deal with things the way you're maybe supposed to do it. So I thought it was this whole verse was really almost like summarizing the content of the album, almost justifying the title in a sense. It's in a weird way, it's like the title track. And the second verse, is it in your head where everything, the living and the dead, they are the only everyone in between, like the jest, the paper you look down upon and judge amongst your friends, the frown and clown upon the people at their end. You know, it's just again kind of looking at a different perspective of it, but looking at the way we treat each other today, the fakeness going on, the way people are maybe not supported in the right directions and shit. And it kind of ends with this little outro: shadow smiles, no fucks to give. Mama say a prayer for the nightmare children that criticize us in the way we live, but we can end this now than we ever did. Shadow smiles, no fuck to give, etc. So it's like nobody cares, nobody has this real passion or desire in them, and it just kind of ends how everyone's criticizing, everyone's feeling a certain way. And I do think that after writing maybe almost critically about this generation, to show this kind of empathy and almost sorrow for what is to come from it, it's like you can tell that this whole project was really inspired from a place of holy shit, the world is going in a weird direction. We are going to document how we see it. And I really like that. So I gave this song, though, a 4.25, because as much as it's, like, interesting conceptually, sonically I was like, I'm okay with it. It's a big tone shift to, like, a creepier, ominous feel to it, but it's fine. It's good in the sense that, again, compared to, like, average shit or whatever, it's fine. But compared to the rest of this album, I liked it less. That's what I'm trying to convey. Anyway, two more. The next one is The End of the Beginning. So you hear like this creepy voice, like screaming kind of people in the background, like ambient darkness. This is like a little 1 minute outro skit thing. It's like, ha 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 ha, I lay in the blanket of the night for the children awake in the night. Something is calling them off, the wings for something more wicked than humans. Could it be the one that they cursed who fell through the ceiling surrounding the earth? We don't mention his name, especially not in these parts, and certainly not on Halloween in this hallowed part. One thing's for sure, as children we are no longer all taught to be seen or not heard. We answer to no one but the head of ourselves, so grab your things and return me to hell. And yeah, it's like almost like presenting a little bit of a demon thing, or a particular negative force in the world that transcends just basic human nature, that's almost influencing humans to be in this situation. So it's like kids no longer have that humility to want to learn and to listen and respect their elders. Instead, everyone's encouraged to be their own boss, to be their own person, to be assertive and to be an individual. And just a side note, the idea of being an individual outside of the rich, so like the wealthy, they always have the right to be an individual. But for the bulk of people, the poor, the plebs, the you and me, we weren't really given the right to have identity until like the 1910s or 20s or something like that, when all of a sudden poor people developed identity. So this whole idea of identity has been like this big experiment for the last 100 years or so. And yeah, I guess one of the consequences is that children are no longer taught to be seen or not heard. They're taught to have personalities, and I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know what to do with this skit. It just popped up. I wasn't really sure what it was. It's some unnamed force that's roaming around, so it's fine. I give it a 4. It's here. It's on this project. And the next one, on Spotify, it says V5 Strike. So I wanted to know if that's like the 5th Strike song or if there's a bunch of versions and what are V1s through 4 like. Anyway, Strike.
Infinity. We pushing the poison to people, they love it, the venom is fine. Sick to the stomach to keep.
So this is like an aggressive, hard-hitting like rap song, you know? It's got like the hook starts off with there is no serum, there's no anti-venom, come soon, rescind this, will usher in this Armageddon, it's coursing through your veins, a force you can't change, venomous we remain, feel the strike of the serpent fang. So I got the sense that all of their words, their ideas, they're like striking in at people, and it's like you can't cause it. They're catalysts for change, and it's unstoppable. And then the verses flow through, and Jamie and Monoxide go back and forth for their first 4 verses. So feeling bad vibes, current self in my past lives, future funeral, all for numero 0, don't you know? So hard living in the shadows of excellence. Fuck all you hear, all the pessimists, the venomous. I got the symbiotes locked in the dark directionists. I feel like we're in the same ballpark of what we've been talking about. Fuck the haters. We doing our shit. I've been in this perspective. And, you know, I'm in my fever broke, I'm wide awake. If I should die from the afterlife, I'm a pray to the Lord my soul should take. And it's almost like they're still trying to get out. They're still trying to put their perspective out there in the world and fuck the haters. Hear my voice, but know it goes unspoken. The poison poet's corroded choices, emoted by devotion. The seal is broken, the void is open. Provoking a potent dosage, dissolve your organs. Venomous, at least according to the warning. You know, flowing in, maybe they're not being heard. Maybe they're still watching all of this corruption, and maybe they feel that the societal direction of things is preventing their success in some way. I don't know. Still, it's fine. It goes on through. They keep it going with the next couple of verses. Then in the last verse, we have a feature from Alla Xul Elu. I don't know if I said that right, but it's proper. It kind of fits in with the same overall tone of what we've been listening to on this track. Let the venom attack one time, hit him with it. I got a blood tie, venom is 5, number 1. Why would you ever want to be a victim of something so sick and twisted with acts? So listen to trap, it's hitting it back, it's hitting bitch back. We're giving no chance, we're giving no slack. Anyway, they're coming in, they're good. Everything else is bullshit. I don't really know if I can say a lot more about this song. I think it's a strong ending. Like, they coming in, and if you look at it, maybe the last few tracks, it's like they see all the problem with these children out there and the kids growing up with the lack of it. They, you know, there's some evil force out there in the world, and then they're striking in and they're fucking crushing it. They're going to defeat the evil. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it felt like. I don't know. This one's a 4.35. It's a good song. It's not one of my favorite ones on a project, but it's still a good song. All right, so that's the end of the Twiztid Generation Nightmare album review. I gave this project a 4.47 on 5. It is really fucking good. It is versatile to all anything. 20 tracks, 20 different sounds. Every song's about something in particular. Every song has its own topic. They rap in every conceivable rap style you can think of. They sing in multiple nu metal-y kind of styles. They play with all sorts of different genres, and I think it's so fucking incredible. They were very sparse with the features. They did have dudes on their crew come in, but it was very sparse with it. I know Young Wicked, I saw he was involved in some of the production efforts on this in terms of mixing and stuff, so I don't actually know how far it is. There's not that much information out on this day after the release, but I'm really blown away. The overall album is commenting on the emotional state of the young people and whatnot. These people ruled by emotion and this constant conflict of angst and anxiety where people are maybe taught critical thinking or how to deal with truth or how to acknowledge the realities of life. And it's almost like a deep dive into all the different shades of the emotions that's out there with this like negative tone. Like, the album's not meant to be happy. It's meant to almost document the nightmare that is this current generation from their perspective. Meanwhile, proving that they're fucking good rappers and convincing me that they're highly underrated and deserve a hell of a lot more love than they're getting right now. That's all I got to really say about it. I really recommend this project. I don't think you'll like every song on it, but I think that for the most part, if you're into authenticity and you're into versatility, this is one impressive ass fucking album. Plus, they answered me on Twitter, so they're fucking cool. Anyway, thank y'all for watching this. It really means the world to me that you guys do take the time to check it out. I look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comment section. If you make that effort to leave me a comment, I'll make that effort to answer you. I think that's only fair, and that's how community gets built. Special thanks to the patrons Ismail Gadamsi, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, Chris Prado, and Jonathan Barnes. They support what we do. They helped us get a new camera. They get to tell us what albums to review. So next weekend, Mr. Wendell Williams gets an album request, and every couple of weeks, Patreon just forces our hand. Whatever album, however obscure, or if it's your buddy or whoever. So if you want to tell us what to do, you can sign up there, get access to content early when we're on time with shit, and we're gonna figure out ways to grow it over the course of the year. And yeah, if you also want to show some love and you don't want to do Patreon, you can hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave that comment, do the traditional YouTube thing to show them that you care about us, because in this current climate of creating content, it's a fucking tough-ass battle, especially if you're like one of the only people trying to make long-ass album reviews going into depth. And maybe I'm not the best at this, but I can't stand the 12-minute videos. I want to see more and more people making this deep dive style shit. Anyway, I appreciate y'all being here. Oh, I dropped a project recently back in November, and I just finished recording like the full version. That was like the EP version and the full version. I literally laid down the last verse yesterday. So that's gonna come out soon, the full project, and that'll be fucking dope. But you can check out what's available on this channel, on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, all that good, Spotify, all the good shit. Anyway, I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Me and Chris will be out with another review in a couple of days, just timing and shit. We got the Classic Quest coming back. Sorry about skipping a week, holidays and whatnot. You know, we took a holiday for once. Whoops. Anyway, we didn't tell anyone. That's our bad. Peace. Look forward to the next time.